Good evening and happy Mashujaa Day to you on this 20th day of October 2013. We thank you so much for joining us this evening. We have a great bulletin lined up for you with all the latest happenings this long weekend, even as tomorrow is a public holiday. Before we get into our news though, we had promised you a rerun of the inside story by John Allen Namu talking about what really happened at the Westgate Mall during that siege that the country was held hostage to for 4 days. We will not be airing it tonight, but rather later on in the course of the week, and this is due to the spirit of patriotism, where we are celebrating Mashujaa Day today and indeed tomorrow, but it will be airing later on this week, so do stay tuned to KTN for that rerun in the course of this week. Let's get to our top stories this evening. And President Uhuru Kenyatta has fired yet another salvo at the International Criminal Court as he seeks Kenyan support against foreign powers. Presiding over his first Mashujaa Day as president, Uhuru did not mince his words. And as the government battles its ICC demons, Deputy President William Ruto joined Kenyans in Belgium for a ceremony to mark Mashujaa Day.
With Deputy President William Ruto away in The Hague, President Uhuru Kenyatta appeared rather lonely on the dais as he presided over his first Mashujaa Day celebrations under the Jubilee government. He condemned the International Criminal Court over the ongoing cases against Ruto and himself.
Unajua kuna watu wengine huko wanatusumbua na mambo yao huko, lakini sisi tumesimama imara, na nataka kuhakikishia ya kwamba haya ni mambo ambayo yatapotea. Huyo shetani mbaya atashindwa na Kenya yetu itaendelea mbele.
Please be seated.
As Kenya pushes its agenda to pull out of the Hague-based court, the head of state has accused foreign powers of seeking to manipulate Kenya, and in his maiden Mashujaa Day speech urged Kenyans to reject such attempts.
Our forefathers rejected colonialism and imperial domination in their time. We must honor their legacy and stay true to our heritage by rejecting all forms of domination and manipulation in our time.
This was not President Kenyatta's first fiery rhetoric against Western influences. About a week ago, he spoke during the AU Extraordinary Summit in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, where he hit out at the ICC and Western nations, accusing them of meddling in the affairs of African countries. With barely 3 weeks to the scheduled start of his case at the ICC, Kenyatta was firing on all cylinders.
They may be powerful and rich, but so were the colonists. They may disrespect, but we have defeated their ilk before. The struggle to defend our independence is a daily calling for all Kenyans and indeed all the people of Africa.
Missing in action back home, Ruto was not to be outdone. He left the Netherlands and joined other Kenyans in marking Mashujaa Day celebrations in Brussels, Belgium. Meanwhile, as Kenya soldiers on in the spirited fight to pull out of the ICC, the Crimes Court is also fighting back. The ICC has said that no matter what happens in Kenya, the state does not have a choice but to cooperate and extradite ex-journalist Walter Barasa to The Hague. The ICC says complementarity doesn't apply to Barasa. This is where a state party is asked to investigate and prosecute the subject so that the Hague Court does not intervene. Hence the warrant of arrest on Barasa stands, Kenya's judicial process notwithstanding. As the plot at the ICC thickens, it is still unclear what will happen come November 12th, when the president's ICC case is scheduled to start. The ICC issue has been seen as a unifying factor in propelling Jubilee into power. However, the issue has continued to be the proverbial poison chalice for President Uhuru Kenyatta and his deputy William Ruto. Despite missing his deputy by his side for his second consecutive National Day celebration, President Kenyatta remained confident that the two leaders will indeed clear their names. Ben Kitili, KTN, Nairobi.
The president wants Kenyans to be more vigilant as the fight against terrorism intensifies. President Kenyatta said his government will provide better security equipment. He also called for support in implementing the Nyumba Kumi initiative. Here's Asha Mwili with that report.
Hundreds of Kenyans thronged the Nyayo National Stadium, the first Mashujaa Day celebrations under President Uhuru Kenyatta's regime. A day that comes as Kenyans come to terms with the Westgate terror attack. The shock and security issues notwithstanding, the stadium was filled to the brim. But underneath the festive mood, there are undertones of unanswered questions. The shadow of the Westgate attack haunting the security chiefs present at the stadium. The president knew this all too well. According to the state of security, the attention it deserved in his Mashujaa Day speech.
We must always do them proud. First of all, we must protect our country from all threats to the national fabric. We have withstood terrible violations by terrorists who have attacked our people and caused much grief and suffering. There have been numerous domestic acts of criminality on worrying scales.
President Kenyatta, however, barely scratched the surface over the Westgate siege. Top security organs have come under heavy criticism over how they handled the attack. And today, the president stood by them.
My government is vigilant and is investing in equipping the security forces to have the sufficient capacity to deter and contain all forms of violence and criminality. We want to be a country at peace with itself and with its neighbors.
The president further emphasized that the buck stops with the ordinary Kenyan.
It will be a great betrayal for any one of us to pretend oblivion while next door someone is assembling bombs, hoarding illegal weapons, or detaining a kidnapped child. That is why we must all embrace the Nyumba Kumi plan and ensure that you know at least 10 households around your residence well.
While opinion is divided over the Nyumba Kumi initiative, Kenyans who attended Sunday's celebrations agree that a lot more needs to be done to secure the nation.
Nilikuwa nimetarajia ya kwamba ataongea kuhusu usalama wa nchi yetu na vile amepanga kutufanyia kazi.
Kuisi iko vizuri vile, iko vibaya kidogo kidogo. Lakini nataka hii ipate kubadilisha kuwa mzuri, na hii sababu ndio ipate kutuchokesa sana.
As Kenyans now gear up for the 50th Independence Anniversary celebrations on December 12th, the president's security strategy comes under close scrutiny in the coming days both within Kenya and beyond our borders. Asha Mwili, KTN, Nairobi.
Now, it is not a secret that the late Mzee Jomo Kenyatta had a soft spot for Kenya's coastal area. The nation's founding father spent a considerable amount of time in Mombasa and eventually died there. The coastal people reciprocated his feelings, and tonight, Angel Katisia brings us an account of a family that interacted closely with Mzee Kenyatta at their Msambweni home.
A family in Msambweni prepares for its main meal of the day, the iftar, to break the fast. It's the month of Ramadan, a special month for Muslims worldwide. For the family of Mwana Juma Bakari, it has an added significance. Until he died 35 years ago, the late Mzee Jomo Kenyatta was a key part of the family's iftar. He would visit them for a popular coastal delicacy, the kaimati.
Hata na ile kwa kipenda sana akisema ni mti gani huno? Mti ambao unajulikana kama kaimati, na ni kaimati hata sasa hivi naweza kukufanyia tu kauliza ni mti gani huno.
It was common knowledge that the late Kenyatta had a special fondness for the coast. Some of the residents still hold dear the memories of their interaction with Kenya's founding father.
Atupiki vyakula, saa kama askari azunguka. Twende kwenye mkutano wa Kenyatta.
Mwanajuma's family extended that connection to the naming of her daughter. Her name Mitingi is derived from the English word meeting, the numerous meeting held prior to Kenya's attainment of independence.
Nishangaa na mimi ikabidi niulize kwa nini mimi niitwe Mitingi.
Mitingi is Mwanajuma's firstborn. She was born in 1963.
Mitingi ya kuhusu uhuru, watu wapate uhuru. Silikuwa kuna mitingi na siasa hizi. Watu hawajapata lakini tupate nini? Uhuru wetu Kenya. Sasa ndio tumbo likaanza kuuma.
Sinajua kumbe mimi nilizaliwa wakati watu walikuwa wagombania uhuru wa Kenya, ndio nikapatikana siku hiyo. Kwa hiyo nafurahia sana hilo jina Meeting.
Those meetings took place at a house that is only a few meters from Mwanajuma's. Here in Musambweni, they call it State House.
Nyumba yetu lakini ilikodishwa na wana siasa. Kufanya siasa, kufanya mkutano wa KANU.
Residents say the late founding father was attracted to their place and music and dances, but there are those who claim he was one of their own, Adigo.
Kia kwamba alizaliwa Pwani.
Sijui, nasikia hivyo lakini sina hakika kwa kweli.
These are memories that will be passed from one generation to another. But their wish is that the government conserves this history. Angel Katuse, KTN.
What a special relationship that exists there. Now, a mix of the old and the new, some fun and patriotism. Today's was indeed a Mashujaa Day ceremony with a difference, as KTN's Sharon Mamanyi now reports. Right, we apologize for that, and we will be getting you that clip because you absolutely have to see the sights and sounds of what happened at the Mashujaa Day ceremony. It was indeed a bit of the old and the new, and we saw the Muungano choir there just reminding us of what the days were like in past years. We have that clip now. Let's take a look.
Heroes arrived at the Nyayo National Stadium. Age and the challenges that come with it notwithstanding, they would not miss the official ceremony of this important day. And the citizen flocked in, braving the scorching sun as true heroes to register their patriotism. They donned colors of the national flag, colors that splashed in splendor. The Kenyan military forces were at their best. And when the president arrived, the disciplined forces displayed their best. And it was a walk down memory lane for a country that is marking 50 years of post-colonialism. Mwakigwena Women Choir, now all grown, are remembered as the children's choir that performed at national celebrations during Mzee Jomo Kenyatta and Daniel Arap Moi's regimes. There were wild rumors that the choir had been involved in a tragic accident, allegedly while en route to a national performance. Their presence here, a clear testimony that it was not true. The music taking most people back in time. And there was more. There was entertainment from contemporary artists as well, and comedy.
Mashujaa. Hii ndio ile siku papu yangu aliweka ukali kando. Yes. Ndio mimi nikule leo nikiwa na amani. Kabisa. Na hii ndio ile siku kuka wangu alichukua bendera ambayo ni beautiful. Akaweka chini.
On this day, President Kenyatta officially launched the Kenya at 50 celebrations and also a logo to promote patriotism. Sports and Culture Cabinet Secretary Hassan Wario spoke of the need for legislation to recognize the country's independence heroes.
Nitola ombi Mheshimiwa Rais
mwaka huu ukiwa mwaka wa 50, tuko na bill ambayo inaitwa Heroes Bill, na hiyo katika ile hali ya kufanikisha mambo ya mashujaa wetu wote. Utasikia hapa na pale mashujaa ndio tuko nao, lakini wengine hawaangalii vizuri. Kwa hivyo tumesema hii bili ikipita, Mheshimiwa Rais, itawasaidia mashujaa wetu pia wao wafurahi.
It was indeed a day that saw Kenyans collectively honor those who contributed towards the struggle for Kenya's independence. Sharon Momanyi, KTN.
Mama yangu sitakuacha milele.
Let's now bring you an update on the investigations regarding what happened at the Westgate Mall. The government has recovered a body believed to be that of one of the 4 terrorists at the Westgate Mall. The recovery brings to 4 the number of bodies retrieved in the past 1 week. The government now says DNA tests will be conducted to establish the identities of the deceased. 4 AK-47 rifles and 11 magazines believed to have been used by the terrorists in the attack have also been recovered. Now let's move to an area of insecurity in Baragoi. Residents of Kwap there are fleeing their homes in fear of attacks following the killing of 4 people at Wasorongai. Tension is high in the area after what is said to have been a clash of 2 pastoralist communities. There were reports early today that gunshots were heard in a neighboring village and schools have been closed there. A school and a dispensary were burnt down yesterday in the night attack.
These are these ones. Yep.
Now, the violence at a burial in Tongaren yesterday has triggered sharp reactions from security chiefs in Bungoma. But as Francis Ontoma reports, authorities now insist that it will not be business as usual ahead of the slated December 19th mini polls.
Ugly scenes witnessed yesterday in Tongaren during a burial ceremony as supporters of Bungoma senatorial aspirants Moses Wetangula and Musikari Kombo clashed when the two shared a podium. But today, security apparatus in the county moved fast to issue a stern warning. Bungoma County Commissioner Maali Mohammed and Governor Ken Lusaka have ordered for prompt investigations into the matter, warning that perpetrators will face the full force of law. They spoke during this year's Mashujaa Day celebrations at Masinde Muliro Stadium.
Isipokuwa hizo incidents ambazo zinakuwa stage managed, Bungoma has been very peaceful. Security and Intelligence Committee, mambo ya Tongaren tunataka uchunguze mara moja na hatua ichukuliwe.
Nataka kujiunga na wale ambao wamelaani kitendo ambacho kilikuwa Tongaren. Kama sisi kama viongozi, surely we want to get leadership kupitia kwa njia kama hizo haitatusaidia.
While attending a church service at Bungoma Cathedral Church, the court team led by Moses Wetangula and Kiminini lawmaker Chris Wamalwa condemned the Saturday chaos. They called for peaceful campaigns ahead of the December 19th mini polls.
Vijana wamekunywa pombe, wanapiga kelele, na wakati walianza kusukumana, kijana moja amesimama karibu na mwanasiasa fulani, alichomoa upanga na ameenda kwa matanga. Wangapi hapa huwa tunaenda kwa matanga kama tumebeba upanga?
Muombe Moses Wetangula. Kile shetani ilikuja kwa mwendaji mwingine, tunasema shetani afanye nini? Ashindwe.
Kombo is on record blaming his rivals for the incident.
It has been displayed in the eyes of all the voters of Bungoma that one of us is determined to use violence in order to get votes.
Even before official communication of campaign kick-off, things have gathered momentum here in Bungoma, with Wetangula Kombo River expected to steal even more thunder in the coming days. Francis Ontomwa, KTN Weekend Prime, Bungoma.
Right, from Bungoma County, let's now take you to the coastal area where shock and fear gripped members of the Redeemed Gospel Church in Mombasa after a pastor was shot dead last night. It is alleged that the pastor was killed as he prayed alone in the church. He's said to have reported to the police that he had received several threatening SMS messages on his phone.
wako na jamii yake, muda ambao amekuwa kwa sababu Mungu
hakurudi ule wakati ambao huwa anarudi, so nikaona kwamba amepitisha, lakini nikawa sina wasiwasi kwa sababu mara nyingine pia hupitisha. So mimi nikakaa, ilipofika saa 8 ndio nikaanza kupata simu, anaulizwa pastor yuko wapi. So nikajaribu kueleza kwamba yeye alienda maombi yuko kanisani. Ndio kuanzia hapo sasa nikafuatwa na wachungaji ambao walikuwa wamepigiwa simu wamefika. Wakaja wakanifuata hapo kwa nyumba. Ndio sasa nikaenda tukamwona kanisani, kweli amekufa.
Ni mshtuko mkuu kwa sababu huyu mzee alikuwa kanisani akiomba ili kwamba aiweze kutekeleza wajibu wake wa Kikristo, wajibu wake wa kiuchungaji ipasavyo. Akiwa katika nyumba ya Mungu alivamiwa hapo na kuuawa.
Right, you're watching KTN Weekend Prime this Mashujaa Day, 20th of October. Many thanks for staying with us thus far. We want to take a short break right now, but when we return, we'll be telling you why you might want to think about ostrich farming.